Alright, the light's on. Yeah. Anyway, this Zarkov guy apparently has done some sort of antinatalist video. A couple people mentioned it, so I guess I will play it. Especially, I guess it's all visually arty and stuff. But whatever. Silly people on the internet.
I should have been honest with you from the start. I wasn't born filthy the error of the ways I was born.
Ugh, annoying start. Originally I was going to make this a response to Gary of the Boom Doom and Gloom channel, but he blocked me. Yeah, well, that channel got suspended. Anthony may be to vent Anthony from Gary's perspective. They seem to make more coherent arguments than Gary anyway. Yeah, fuck you. The hedonistic imperative links. Oh, he's a hedonist. Isn't that cute? I think I can win the game. Yeah, I'm a pawn on the chessboard, and I'm going to win. Yeah, I don't think you are, asshole. Oh, you're so stupid. Idiots. Pain in the brain. Ooh, it's a lecture on pain in the brain. Probably have to check that out. Yeah, I don't know why you're linking to these channels. Just link to the website. Thank you very much if you're going to bother linking. So let's see. Maybe I'll read some of these comments later. How many are there? I don't know. It doesn't say. Well, anyway, let's just get on with this crap. The voice you are hearing. Oh, I don't care. Blah, 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 blah.
So yeah, I would go for the 100% solution if I had 100% power. I mean, if I could press a button right now and planet Earth just vanishes, yeah, I'll press it. Fine. No big deal. No skin off my hand. Yeah, zap it. Fine. Because, yeah, I see it as basically fail. It was a fail.
Let's understand. I'll just add some more context. You know, it's a DNA molecule, people. Okay? I mean, I'm not violating anything but a DNA molecule. You know, and I understand that you have a perception that, oh, gee, that's kind of nasty, Gary. You would sit there and annihilate me and vaporize me in a millisecond? Yeah, I would. It's nothing personal. It's just that I'm not attacking your existence. I'm just attacking the fact that there's a DNA molecule that through pure nothing, you know, a fart of the universe. It's like, yeah, if you could just undo the fart, well, why not? I mean, there's just no reason not to undo something that's just a product of a dumb force. Certainly.
Failed experiment. The whole life thing is insane. So, yeah.
Many Christians claim that atheism inevitably leads to the kind of extreme nihilism. It's not nihilism, you idiot. I mean, really, what's the fucking point of having these words, these veiled book people and their fucking goddamn jargonistic crap shit words? All right, nihilism is about saying, oh yeah, there's nothing you can do in this world, so just do for yourself. Obviously, that's not my incentive. If I thought killing this one pawn would end the pawn game, then I would do it, and that would be the other way to finish the game. But it doesn't. It's just silly to say, oh yeah, my consciousness is the only consciousness in the universe, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck? Nihilists are the lowest form of retard on planet Earth. That Gary endorses. So this is just a lie. So you're starting your video with a big fat lie. So I'm not a nihilist. If nihilism is the right word, but you know what I mean. I know. How can anybody know what you mean when you fucking premise something and then sit there and base an argument on what that premise means? So saying you know what I mean. I don't mean this, but I could mean that. Maybe possibly I mean that over there. I mean, fuck you.
Stop it. It's got nowhere to go. It's got nothing to do. So logically, I can say, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that idea. You're defending an insidious system of grotesque, pointless suffering.
Yeah, this is quote mining, but I'm fine with this. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to quote. So I appreciate quoting, just make sure you don't cut something off that's really good. That would be being a cheater. Atheism doesn't lead inevitably to anything. Well, obviously it does. If you're an atheist, you're not a theist. That means you do have to accept the existence as being something created by a non-intelligent design. That's sort of the inescapable truth of atheism, is recognition of non-intelligent design. Now, maybe it's possible that the universe by accident created something really, really kick-ass. But you sort of have to demonstrate that. That sort of becomes an extraordinary claim. If I claim that I've got a little yellow bus full of retards, and they've just cured cancer, and I've got a cure for cancer now because they cured it, I'm going to have to prove it before somebody's going to take that treatment, right? I mean, no one's going to just trust a little yellow bus full of retards, right? Okay. Any more than that, starting a trip in Dallas, Texas, inevitably means you have to end up in Hollywood. Any more than starting a trip. Well, I mean, that's idiotic. The point is, you will go somewhere. You start the trip and you go through a logical process. Part of the logical process is recognition that there's no intelligent creator. Now, that means that you're stuck with mechanical forces that will, there are organisms right now eating their own young. Fucking gas company letting me know that there's many services available online. Blah, 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 blah. Fucking crank calling gas company. Fucking bastards. The point is, you don't look, you're going to end up somewhere, and you're going to end up somewhere for reasons, okay, because that's where the roads go and all that kind of stuff. And so you do the logical deduction based on what the reality is. Again, it's unintelligent design. It's design that doesn't have any awareness of the real value of sentience. Sentience, it just happens to be a phenomenon that took place that made organisms tool equipped. It made them able to survive, to scheme, to wheel and deal. Not necessarily good things. It enabled them to play the game, the little gladiator game. And now that we have intelligence, maybe we're a little too smart for gladiator games. That's the argument. Buttball. It's a starting place, not an entire route. Well, I'm sorry. It's a place. The foundation of logic, the premises, is what narrows where the logic can go. All right? And it's sort of very limiting. The idea of unintelligent design is kind of limiting. Sorry, but that's just the way it turns out.
And I want to turn it off. Yeah, that would complete me. Bones are reanimated back into the world again to push the same Sisyphus fucking boulder up the same stupid hill for the 10th zillionth time for absolutely no accomplishment but to create a bunch of wasted suffering.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good, damn good to me. But Gary agrees with the Christians on at least this one point. He thinks atheism logically and inevitably must lead to his vision of life as pointless, suffering, and not worth living philosophy. I don't say it has to lead to it. What I'm saying is again, if you know the creator is retarded, which atheism is basically saying, it's a retarded creator. It doesn't have intelligence. There's no source of intelligence from some other place. Photons don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're not advising the universe. Yeah, make some of that reproducing stuff on Earth. Yeah, no one's doing that. It wasn't a suggestion from Einstein or something. There's nothing. All right, and so, yeah, that logically means that you have to, if you're going to find good, you're probably going to have to look hard for it. Because dumb things, generally speaking, don't create brilliant things. It's just a fact. It just lowers the probability that life does make sense when you unveil all the layers of the onion. You're not going to find a diamond in the center. What you're likely to find is a maggot. Anyway, let's play some more.
You do understand that's the dynamic I'm trying to stop. Now, if you have some better way to stop it, describe a way.
This is like music from like 1950s or something. I like it. Alien even. Alright, so here we go. The hedonistic imperative. This must be from the website. Got little links here. The Abolitionist Project, High Table of Contents, High Abstract, Head Web. Head Web. Whatever.
Do indeed have a better way. That better way is the one described by David Pierce on his website.
Oh my goodness, you're a little bit speech impaired, aren't you? You have a little bit of a speech impediment. So it makes this all sound a little bit silly-billy. But let's not hold that against you. That's like holding the dumbness of the universe against it. We don't want to be doing that. We don't want to make assumptions because somebody has a little bit of a speech impediment. Right? Sorry, I'm going to take shots at you because you're an asshole. Jesus Christ. You got a name like Zarkov and you talk like Sunkoff. But go ahead, do your little spiely wheelie.
Hedonistic imperative. It's linked in the underbar. It's an unrealistic, utopian, transhumanist, sci-fi vision of how neuroscience, nanotechnology, and genetic engineering can eliminate all the truly nasty pain and suffering that life experiences while keeping the good stuff and even improving it. And as far-fetched and improbable as the hedonistic imperative is, it is still more probable than either of Gary's two options, which are, 1, convince enough people to stop.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. The truth is what we're talking about. What's the realistic? What is life? I've described what life is. The conclusion of what the right thing to do about it is an argument to be had. It'll either be won or lost. Okay? That's not really my problem. My problem as an individual is to try to make the best argument possible. And you leave it at that. I mean, you know, maybe if we write it in frosting on Twinkies, you know, we have frosted Twinkies and we write in the frosting, you know, life is fail. You know, let's get over it. You know, subtle little subliminal messages out there in the real world, then maybe people can be convinced. But this is just stupid. I mean, you're arguing that you have some unrealistic, phantasmagorical nonsense that you're selling as an alternative to the truth. What's the point of that argument? Is life fail or is life not fail? Is the suffering to accomplishment equation impossible or is it not impossible? This is the only stuff that matters here, jackass. So anyway, convince enough people to stop having babies and to make laws against having babies to let the human race die out. It's not about the human race dying out, but yes, it's about getting to a point where, yes, you can finish the job without causing too much harm. Correct.
Having babies and to make laws against having babies to let the human race die out.
Well, you know, if you're going to be fair, all right, what you'd say first is that you would, you know, rebalance legislation so baby making isn't subsidized. So that would be the first step. Take away the subsidies for baby making. Make people pay the real freight for their reproductive choice. But, you know, fairness is, yeah, I know it's tough for you people.
Or 2, blow up the world.
No, the two are basically the same thing. So, I mean, you know, the point is that, let's say antinatalism is only like one, even if the best we can do is 1 out of 10 people, which might already exist theoretically. I mean, a lot of people don't have kids and are pretty miserable. But anyway, let's just say it's 1 out of 10 people. Inevitably, in this future that you're going to head for, the inevitable future, whatever it's going to be, it's going to have lots of technology and there's going to be lots of dangerous shit. And you're going to have 1 in 10 people that are willing to press anything that looks like a button. Anything. If it looks like a button that might do some real harm to this planet, they're going to probably press it and say, God damn, it's worth a shot. Okay, I mean, if there's a homicidal maniac coming at you, you know, you'll throw anything. You'll throw a rock, you'll throw a piece of paper, you know, it says fuck you on it. You'll throw that at him, if that's all you got. And that's sort of the position people are in. So yeah, I mean, realistically, it'd be nice to do it the right way. The fact is, it'll probably get done the wrong way. And I'm not for that, but that's just because you assholes are going to make it have to happen that way. Because all your little yammery noise in the background pretending it's not the truth just makes it harder to convince people and to get the job done the right way. I mean, you can go out with dignity, with your intelligence intact, or you can go out like screaming lunatics. But you're going to go out, okay? The game is fucked. Intelligence, freedom, and technology. Those three things will not make it to the future. I guarantee you.
Or spread some deadly genetically engineered plague and destroy all life that way. The option of the...
Oh my God, it just sounds horrible, doesn't it? Destroy all life. You mean prevent future life. That's really the goal, asshole. But again, fairness, I know. Fairness is just so difficult for you weasels. I mean, you can't, weasels just don't fly. So whatever. Keep doing what we are already doing, making technological progress, right? Technological progress that is going to keep making individuals more and more dangerous and powerful. Yeah, that's just not going to work out for you, fella. And learning how things work. Well, you're just denying how things work. You're saying you don't want to learn. You want to pretend. You want to invest in unrealistic, phantasmagorical hopes about how things will work. No, we know how things work. We know how psychology works. Okay? It ain't a good thing. It's a selfish little monstrous thing. And when you give it this technological progress, you're going to see a lot more than a couple of buildings fall down. You're going to see a lot of stuff fall down. Fall down hard.
Hedonistic imperative is to just keep doing what neuroscience is already doing. Studying the brain, and then medical science will use the results of that knowledge to eliminate pain and suffering in more and more intelligent and effective ways. First.
Yeah, well, I mean, so far, has that really worked out? I mean, if you really think about it, it was bad in the past, but mostly because they didn't have anesthesia, right? And so once they had anesthesias, at least something that worked, ether even, that made things a lot better. But look what we got now. We got treatments for diseases that, frankly, I'd rather have the disease. The disease is less of a curse than the fucking cure. And we've accepted that. People have said, okay, yeah, life is just so, I have to live another day to eat another pretzel. So, yeah, go ahead. Torture me, and they've accepted that. Seems kind of stupid to me. It seems kind of even this technology brain understanding thing, it does seem kind of perversely motivated. It does seem obsessed with one thing, lengthening life, not improving the quality of life.
With patients in serious pain or depression, but then spreading to wider use in the general population. Eventually,
yeah, well, I'm sorry, but see, that sounds a little like, you're the crazy mad scientist now, okay? Now you're going to cure depression. So you're going to start being the thought police. You're going to start saying, well, you're seeing a little too much of reality, so let's give you some therapy. Maybe we'll electrocute your brain. Oh, yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. And we'll zap all the reality out of you. Okay, we'll lobotomize you any way we can. That doesn't sound too good. Yeah, that sounds kind of lame and fucked up to me.
If the science keeps progressing, we will reach a point where we understand the systems involved in the production of...
Yeah, well, this is kind of a good example, right? You're just playing a little rat game here. You're just saying the maze is more important than the rat. The running of the maze. Whatever we have to do to get the rats to keep running the maze. No matter how insightful they become and capable of saying, well, wait a minute, this is a need equation. So you want to solve the problem, you just go back to the source. What's the source of the problem? Oh, the need machine. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't make need machines. because only need machines need to play the game. All right, if you don't make gladiators, you're not going to have gladiator war. I mean, it's just not that complicated, and you're just doing some sort of like pretty flower thing. You're just saying that there's this idea that, oh yeah, my pleasures are kind of fun, you know, but that's all an illusion in your frickin' head. Okay, it's not something the universe needs to do. I mean, it really doesn't need it. It doesn't really serve a function. It only serves a function when you have a need machine, when you have a beastie that is hungry for it. No hunger, no meal.
Pain and pleasure well enough that we can start seriously thinking about redesigning them. And the whole nervous system really does need to be redesigned.
Whatever. I mean, this isn't an alternative argument to the truth. This is just saying that we'll ignore the truth and we'll optimize the most delusionary parts of human psychology. So we'll just live in a silly delusion of accomplishment. Masturbate for 1,000,000 years. Yeah, stupid. It's a waste. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's just kind of a waste of time.
The pain and pleasure system is a huge kludge. Pain and pleasure evolved long before reason and human-level consciousness arrived on the scene. In fact...
Well, that's true, and so that means a whole bunch of organisms were dumb and stupid, but suffered like hell for absolutely no accomplishment. Yeah, so a DNA molecule could replicate itself, because there is no God, there is no purpose. The whole stupid experiment is a big giant fail, and you shouldn't put $1 more into it. It's a fucking money pit. Life is a money pit. Fuck it.
Reason and consciousness seem to have evolved in order to override bad, out-of-date instincts and simple pain and pleasure inputs. For example...
Oh, please. No, it optimized instincts. That's all it did. I mean, override is a stupid way to say it. There was a simple functionality, and it made a more complex, subtle, and more efficient scheming machine. But let's not fool ourselves that there's something other than the difference between, using a stick in a sword fight and using swords in a sword fight. That's all it is. It's just an optimized soldier. Jeez, a better equipped soldier.
In order to use the newly invented spear to defend themselves against tiger attack, our ancient ancestors might have had to overcome the instinct to run in fear and instead stand and fight the tiger. Reason alone, not instinct, had to tell them they could not outrun a tiger.
Oh, this is just bullshit. No, what taught them was experience, and they learned through experience that we win when we have pointy stick. Tiger wins when we don't have pointy stick. That's all they learned. They saw the victories, and they said, wow, I know I can do it now, but somebody else did it. That guy stabbed a tiger, I'll stab a tiger. So yeah, that's all that took place. There was nothing to override. They went with their ego, and they went with their... let's eradicate these things from the face of the earth, like woolly mammoths.
They could only, maybe, run faster than their comrades, but they could fight the tiger with a proper weapon. Today, a species such as our own no longer needs pain as we have known pain, because we are capable, in theory, of intelligently working out what is good for us and what damaging events we should avoid, because we evolved from creatures that needed this nasty dose.
Oh, whatever. I mean, it's built into the structure, and like I said, even if you get rid of it, for us, alright, that biosphere out there, you're not going to give it a cure. And that's the game. That's the bulk of sentience is still out there in that nastiness. So again, your hedonistic nihilism is fail. Okay, you're not going to solve the problem by solving the human problem. And in my opinion, you don't solve the human problem by basically turning us into retards who will get orgasmic over pink balloons. I mean, you could do that, but I'm not voting for it, and I don't want to play. Yeah, so it's just as bad a world as this one in some respects. It's just as big a humiliation to our intelligence and dignity to accept, well, let's all be fucktarded jackasses, you know, whatever, you know, living for the little jollies.
Of pain to drive into their memory the kind of lessons that we can learn with a less nasty inducement. Reason and consciousness got built on top of this kludgy pain and pleasure system, which has become nothing but a very poor kind of onboard diagnostic system in the human being. A diagnostic system that gives us very faulty
Yeah, well, you could have pointed out when you pointed to my channels that I have one on virtual reality. So, to me, the simple solution isn't to build new human beings. It's just to take consciousness out of where it is and move it to a safer environment where all of that is controlled, like it's controlled in the dream state. It's pretty hard to have serious, hard pain in the dream state. But anyway, I don't even want to get into the discussion because, again, it's just stupid. It's just, this is all this conversation, like I said, is as much as this is a romantic love thing. All you're doing is talking about how pretty you think your wife is. All right, this really doesn't mean anything. It just has to do with your attachment and addiction to something. If we look at the game for what it is, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't function. It doesn't do anything. So all the little pleasure brains you could pile up a million high would be irrelevant. There's just and it's so unrealistic that you can get there without causing huge amounts of pain to get there. Will you volunteer to have your brain experimented on?
Indicators of what is really good and bad for us. So we can now imagine a future where you can redesign your own pleasures, decide your own...
Well, this is probably a good example because, look, I mean, even in Star Trek it was a huge fail. I mean, Data was a fucking dork. Would you want to be Data? I mean, fuck. No, thank you very much. Not my ideal dream date. I mean, come on.
Intentional objects and replace pain with a less nasty diagnostic system. We might create a delicious feeling of absolute well-being that would surpass anything contemporary neurochemistry can achieve as a...
Oh, right. Yeah, right. So nature hasn't already addicted us with the most powerful sensations, right? It hasn't used the best feelings it can conjure up. It's got some still in reserve somewhere that it's not using to seduce us. No, I think we're pretty maxed out on what we're pulling from it in terms of addiction and association with these raw pleasures. But like I said, even if it were possible that you could somehow manipulate the mechanism to extend the orgasm another 30 seconds or whatever your equation is, there are limits to that in the sense of it's part of the function that maybe this is a good-bad scenario and we're just not quite aware of it. And you would be aware of it the longer it goes on. It might become a stress. So this isn't a solution. Being asleep is the solution. Go to sleep and realize that, well, that didn't hurt a bit.
Baseline feeling we live with most of the day. And then we could trade in our sense of pain for a less nasty feeling, like a warning tingle and an onboard AI.
Yeah, we already have all that crap going on now, too. I mean, it's, most of the time we're not in hard pain. We're in just irritation and discomfort and tension, and we got worry, and we got work, and we got concerns, and we got all this other crap. And it's when that stuff goes away, like, oh, a check for $1 million came in the mail, and we get this great feeling. Why? Because all the problems went away. But you got to create the problem before you can get the $1 million check and get you off. And if you already have $10 million in the bank or $10 billion, $1 million check ain't gonna do shit for you.
Hey, doctor, the best expert system we can design that puts up a transparent computer screen behind our eyeballs that tells us what organ or appendage has been damaged.
Well, why would it even bother telling us? Why not just Wi-Fi it directly to the doctor's office or the hospital, and they can directly send a little robot out to, grab you and throw you into the repair center? Yeah. I mean, you're just going to extract all. Life has no purpose, but this is just a silly, insane contrivance. If you can do all this shit, you can do virtual reality, and that would be the rational way to go.
What should be done about it? And because this possibility of eliminating pain in the not-too-distant future exists, Gary's proposed solution of genocide falls victim to the same counter-argument that suicide does.
Oh, come on, Jonestown. Really, that's the best you got? You're going to sit there and associate an idea, an argument, philosophical argument made right out front, okay? There's no seduction here. There's no bullshit. And you're going to sit there and slander it this way. Why? Because somebody voiced an opinion that you don't like? Because you're a Kool-Aid drinker? Because you're a pink balloon chaser? And you just can't let it go? Well, that's your problem, bucko. Okay? It's let-goable. You can pretend that it's not, but it is. People can let it go. I can let it go. I can let go of the notion that we need to have some fake people living fake lives for eternity doing fake things. Yeah, it just doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't need to exist. It's stupid. Pointless. The point is, and the price is going to be way too high. It's your thinking that's going to create harshly dead, violently killed, ugly, harsh death. That's what you're going to create. You're going to create the Jonestown scenario because you're going to resist the simple truth that it's a stupid game and we ought to gracefully get out of this gladiator war. But you're going to go down like a good old gladiator thinking you're going to win. And that thought is going to make a big fucking ugly mess.
Is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
I'm a genocidal man.
Well, I'm sorry. The fact that there's no purpose to be accomplished is not a temporary problem. The fact that you can't satisfy a need without first creating a need is not a temporary problem. It's a foundational problem. It's a structural problem. All right? You make positives out of negatives. You got to create negatives before you can have your silly positives. That's the problem. Shit for brains. Yeah, well, I would say the same thing to you, to your audience. Wake up. Don't drink this Kool-Aid. This pretense that, oh yeah, the retarded universe did actually make something worth preserving. Well, no, it didn't. It's all a lie. There is no spoon.
So again, that terminology is okay to use.
I would say, genocidal is okay, maybe if you take it literally. But we know what that word is.
He admits it. His goal is global genocide.
Oh, gee, fair cop again. So go ahead, cheat. Like I said, I'll guarantee you that if your end game is believed in by people, this is what the world will be covered with. And these will be crawling and starving and dying and irradiated and sick, and it's going to go on for hundreds of years before you'll finally die out. These little cockroaches won't want to give up. You'll die with no dignity, no grace. There'll be no actualization of our intelligence. There'll be actualization of the worst parts of existence. Because you're cheaters. You'll cheat the truth. And this is a cheat of the truth. So fuck you.
The end of humanity, intelligence, awareness, and consciousness itself. transhuman.
How twisted do your morals and ethics have to get to see the murder of all humanity as morally justified? So again, that's what you call a fair argument. The prevention of pointless life. You couldn't say that and be fair about it. But again, you had to say the murder. The murder. There's no murder. Do you call it murder when you execute a serial killer? Is that, will you make a propaganda film about how it's wrong to punish the guilty? I mean, again, I didn't even say you have to kill anybody. I'm just saying, yeah, so there'd be a point where you say you'd force people to be sterilized. So let's just say that's as far as it goes. You capture people and you sterilize them. In the end, the very end game, the people who don't want to play right. And you don't shoot anybody who doesn't shoot at you first. How's that for a policy? But you'll call that murder. Because you don't care about the truth. You don't care about a fair fight or a fair argument. You're just a lispy little coward throwing mud from behind a rock. Yeah, bravo, Zarkov. Zarkov, the sissy wimp.
A universe without intelligence, awareness, and consciousness is just wasted space. The anti-native...
Wasted space. And you really don't understand how playing a stupid game that can only be played by something with an ego, something that, you know, has some desire to win, that's stupid. That it's stupid to risk suffering for a non-accomplishment, to do absolutely nothing. Idiot.
Sees no value in anything but avoiding suffering. But I think the things we have achieved are worth the suffering, and that contradicts the first premise of anti-native.
Yeah, you think. Well, you think. So what? You don't logically defend. How exactly does that fit into any kind of true description of our origins and what we're doing here? We're a replicating molecule. We have these assets because they made us more survivable. Where do you get this idea that it's functioning, that it's accomplishing something?
Fatalist argument that avoiding suffering is the most important thing there is.
Yeah, well, again, there is no Cheeto, okay? It's an illusion in your head. The desire mechanism cheats the argument. That's all you have to understand. You have a psychology. Your psychology makes things valuable that aren't really valuable. Not intrinsically valuable. Suffering is intrinsically valuable. Everything else is not. It's just the truth of it.
Suffering is about as valuable as saving money.
Annihilatism follows a claim of logic that starts with this premise. It is morally wrong to inflict suffering on others. That premise is missing a word. I don't know. I never use the word morally wrong. So again, you say you're arguing with me and you're using, again, false premises and lies. It's a lie. That's all that is. It's a lie. Bravo. You're a lying sissy, wimp, weasel.
Don't want to waste it, but you will have to spend your current comfort level sometime in the future. Otherwise, there is no point to having it. And if you doubt the comparison of pain and money, or rather, comfort to money.
So, for example, when you give blood, someone jams a needle in your arm and it hurts. Actually, I've found that it doesn't really hurt at all. But whatever, it's totally irrelevant. The fact that you will do that for desire. So will a heroin addict. You don't sit there and glorify it and say, oh, wow, it's just such a wonderful, magnificent thing to watch. No, you say that's stupid. I mean, you see alcoholics do horrible damage to themselves. They kill themselves for their drink. Huh?
Consider this. How much money would you take to have a sterilized needle stuck in your arm? It's the level of pain we get when we donate blood and give away a little comfort for others.
Well, again, like I said, it's not that big a deal. But regardless, the point is it's imposing it is the trick, and how many How many lion cubs would you kill before their first birthday to live? How many? How many would you accept getting eaten by hyenas, whatever the thing is? So if I said for every life, every human life, the number would be, if we did the calculation out, to all animals of similar substance to a lion cub. You're talking about, for every human life, a million little baby mammals harshly and brutally killed before their first birthday for your life. So are you going to say you're worth it? You've done something to justify that horror? Have you? I certainly haven't. Have you? I don't think you have, especially because you're a little sissy wimp, weasel fucktard sitting behind a rock.
You think, with no donation value, that for $150 I'd let someone stick a sterilized needle in my arm as long as there is no lasting damage? Sure, it will be different for different people. You may have to pay one.
Well, this has nothing to do with what gets paid. You don't do the paying, asshole. Right now, all this construct that enables you to make this little propaganda video, all this infrastructure that we've built out of capitalism, has beat the living shit out of people. Literally, has beat the shit out of them. That's the price of your existence. It's just not what you endure personally. It's what is endured to maintain the fucking facade of accomplishment. The next anti-alienist claim: every human life is filled with suffering. Who's saying this? Fails to note that our lives are also full of joy, wonder, hope, and love. Well, again, so you want to play with a word like love? Go ahead, sissy. Hope is just bullshit. Wonder is entirely bullshit. I mean, it's complete subjective crap. Some people wonder at the wonderful convolutions in somebody's hemorrhoid. Joy is whatever. Yeah, fine. Pleasure would be a better word. Yes, every life has pain and pleasure in it, in different amounts and at different levels. And I would argue to you, I've made the argument. You should have played that quote. But the currency of life is suffering. And if people had to pay it up front, if we told them exactly what they're going to have to live, and we gave them $100, and then we put a price tag on the stuff they're going to endure. Well, not a price tag, but they had to buy it out of hock. And if they're going to buy immunity to the harm for a much higher price, they're going to have a bidding war. We're going to make them bid for immunity to cancer, or we're going to make them bid for immunity to ALS. You know how high those bids are going to go? So I'm just saying, if we did this in real currency, okay, the losses are fucking huge in terms of their value proportion compared to our trivial little, I went to Disneyland and yes, it was la fun. Alright, you're not going to pay for Disneyland with colon cancer. No fucking way.
Buffett or Bill Gates a couple $1 million to stick a needle in their arm, and I wouldn't be surprised if they turned out to be regular blood donors who gave away their pain for free. But they also give away their money.
Well, let's not even talk about how what tiny percentage of their money has so far been given away to anything that doesn't give them something back in return in terms of PR and the rest of this crap. So don't be glorifying the money hoarders, okay, who could be putting people to productive work, who could be building something of real value in the world, and instead just keep holding on to their ownership assets so they can collect more interest payments for doing no work. So again, glorify the rich, you fucking retard. So that just makes you even a bigger piece of scurvy weasel shit.
Now, you may be saying that the needle in your arm is trivial and not like the suffering you need to address. So consider this question. Would you suffer the most intense pain a human being can experience before fainting or doing lasting damage for just 5 minutes if you were paid $10 million.
Well, we're not paid $10 million, and I don't know. I mean, realistically, I mean, if I said to you you had to hang on a cross for 2 days, I don't know. I mean, to save something, realistically, I mean, $2 million, you can do a lot of good in the world. You could eliminate a lot of suffering. And there's probably no doubt that you could eliminate as much suffering as you'll endure hanging on that cross. But still, selfishly, personally, I don't think so.
I would.
Yeah, well, that makes you a retard, in my opinion. So fine. You're a weasel, a sissy, a skanky piece of shit. You're probably fat as hell. Yeah, so no surprise that you're an idiot besides.
Feel the same way. If your pain is that kind of monetary value, then you can't say that avoiding suffering...
I'd love to see the TV show, actually, though. Crucifixion for, 10 million? Well, good, let's make it $1 million, right? All right, 10 million. Let's make it 10 million. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, well, we're going to actually drive nails into your flesh and hang you from a cross for 2 days. For $10 million. It'd be interesting to see who shows up for that.
Is the most important thing in the world. Money would be more important to you. Some antinatalists have, I believe, claimed that our pleasures are illusory and only the pain is real. But that is biologically impossible.
Oh, it's not biologically impossible because of the word desire. Hunger. Hunger makes it attractive. Hunger makes you want for it. All right? Hunger, 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 hunger.
Because they are produced by the same brain with the same neurochemistry. So,
but again, they're not the same thing. Pleasure is actually the release of negative states of being. That's how you derive the pleasure. Like I said, I can describe most of your pleasures, and what they are, what physically is happening is the negative states of your steady state are being relieved. Right this minute, although I'm semi-comfortable, if I did an assessment, if I consciously closed my mind and did an assessment of how I feel, I can find all kinds of little miseries and tensions and irritations. Okay, I'm in a negative state of being. I am burdened by gravity and oppressiveness and the rest of that. And what pleasure does, like a sneeze, is it just reboots that. It just takes all that crap out of the way, all right? And you float in a euphoria for a little while, a freedom. Your gravity's, everything's gone. Everything burdening you is gone for the moment. And then it creeps back in, and the pleasure goes away.
If the pleasure is an illusion because it is merely a brain state, then so is the pain. From what frame?
It's just too simplistic, okay? They're not like red and green, all right? They're not the same thing, just different colors. They're fundamentally different functional phenomenon of psychology.
Can you even make the outrageous claim that pain is more real than pleasure? If anything...
Yes, like I said, I can. And I think I can defend it. Especially how we would monetize it. If we had to actually monetize it, what we would pay to avoid. We would find out just how nothing our pleasures are if we had the opportunity to buy ourselves out of the pains.
From a subjective standpoint, it's the pleasure that is more real than the pain. I'm going to link a lecture by...
well, you're just ignoring desire and addiction, and these are fundamental psychological phenomenons. They are the definition of things like love, yeah. So this is just silly. This is infantile babble.
Alan Bosball, Pain in the Brain in the Underbar. In the lecture, Bosbon asked people in his audience to re-experience the most intense pain they ever felt. You can't do it. But we can...
Oh, please. Oh, yeah, I can just sit here and... orgasm just by thinking? No, I don't think that happens, asshole. Yeah, of course we can't recreate a sensation, precisely. But we can see that we can do it sometimes fairly well. Different parts or aspects of it we can reimagine. But yeah, it's hard to actually re-experience it.
Re-experience in our imagination, past loves and other pleasures. I'll leave you to think about all that for now. Whether I pick up the topic of antinatalism again will depend on if I get responses to this video. Good night.
Well, you didn't touch the topic, and the topic is the nature of existence and the nature of human psychology, and those two subjects you didn't touch with anything logical or anything a rational, truth-loving human being should give a fart about. So anyway, this was a lot less of a show than I thought. People were making it sound like it was all kind of powerful. It was really very lame. So anyway, yeah. It was garbage. So I wish people would just quit commenting on these crap videos. And if you're not into all this futuristic stuff, at least not until it's actually here, there is whatever, stupid jerk, Epicurious. No, that's not going to solve everybody's problem. They're going to read a book. Fucking rose-bushy moron. Let's see. Inmendum is a terrorist. No, I don't think I am yet. Just prove it, asshole. Idamod.guy. He's such an asshole. Well, anyway, enough of this. I'm not going to bother with the comment section. So, till next video. I mean, really, the video's much long enough anyway. So anyway, this is just, this argument, I guess. All this has to happen, I suppose, in terms of you're just going to have to go through a inane argument after inane argument after inane argument. But yeah, people need to understand psychology. They really do. That if you really examine everything you really desire or want, it's superficial, fluffy mush. It really is. And there's cliches out there that really do make some sense. If you have your health, you have everything. All you need is the capacity to feel comfortable. Not, you don't have to keep driving yourself into hunger and satisfying the hunger. You just have to be satisfied. And but there's nothing to do here anyway, though. There's nothing, unless you make yourself a personal mission, there's nothing. There's this stupid chase. Yeah, chase, go to sleep, wake up, chase, go to sleep, wake up, chase, go to sleep, wake up. It's stupid. Get over yourselves.